Fight and Talk back again, and today I'm delighted to be joined by George Hardwick ahead of his world title bout against Medhi Ben Lakhdhar on Cage Warriors 131. George, how nice is that to hear after the year that you've had 2 wins and it's only led this title shot?
It's brilliant. Considering the start of the year, it was like a limbo land and not knowing where the next fight was going to be. You know, I'd had that fight in Bellator, but it was a one-fight contract. Both the fights in Bellator were one-fight contracts. And me and Harry were both kind of lost with the COVID situation until, Harry ended up fighting a bit of a random fight in Croatia to get a fight. But since we've joined up with Cage Warriors, this is what we wanted, a schedule of back-to-back-to-back fights. And it's just the best thing as an athlete, having a fight and then knowing when the next fight's going to be, instead of having a fight and then being, well, what happens next? And this is just like a perfect end to the year.
I mean, yeah, you say that it's been a fantastic year for you. If we go back to the start, the first fight of the year against former Cage Warriors world champion Dean Truman, your first fight of that multi-fight contract as well, I believe. I mean, they certainly threw you in at the deep end. But after that win and for you to get it in such a convincing style, the way that you did, how much were you then sort of thinking, if I can throw in a couple of wins together here, I think the title shot's not too far away at all?
But, people were throwing around the idea of the title shot for me before I was throwing around the idea. I still haven't. I'm into the title shot, but I've not thrown around the idea of it yet. I've always just thought, I want to be active. That's my main goal of this year. And some people say, oh, you should be next in line for a title shot. And my idea is just, I'll fight anyone. If they can beat me, well, they should probably be next in line for a title shot. So I've just been, first things first, wanting to be active. And it's just really great, this opportunity coming off the back of these two finishes, that I can get this title shot at the end of the year.
Of course, Joe McColgan has vacated the belt. He said that he didn't want to hold up the division, thought it was unfair for him to keep a hold of the belt, which for me, I think was fantastic to see a champion doing that. He has expressed interest as well, though, in facing the winner. I know you'll only be looking one fight at a time, but about Joe McColgan down the line, how does that sound?
Sounds good to me. I hope everything goes well with his life. I hope everything goes well so we can get back to training. And
now, if we do go to the fight now that we've got less than 2 weeks away, Medhi Ben Lakhdhar, we've seen him on the Cage Warrior stage a few times now. What sort of fight are you expecting from him?
I've rewatched his fight with McIntosh a few times. That's his last fight, and it gets me excited watching it. The way he's kind of holding onto the fence, he's kind of staring out, and when the referee claps, he charges into the center of the cage, because that's the same as my last few fights. So it should bring like a really brilliant fight. It's like exciting to have someone who kind of brings that energy to a fight. I've had a few people, like Truman brought it at first and then started to shrink away. Denal was quite he threw a few big strikes, but he was quite timid. And it's good to beat them down and break them down like that, but you want a good dance partner.
With this fight as well, this will be the most active year of your pro career so far. I know you said earlier on there that was one of the main goals for you, just to be as active as you can be. I think it's fair to say that anybody takes a look at your social media and you're not one of these fighters who sometimes after a fight completely lets himself go for 6-7 weeks and then gets back on it. You seem to be very much in very good physical shape, almost ready to go as and when. How important is that for you in order to keep active the way that you want to?
Well, it's just, luckily I've got no injuries off of these past fights. But each time I've thought, I'll take a full week off training. I've had a really hard fight camp. I'll take this full week off. Monday I have a palmo. Tuesday rolls around and I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I need to get back rolling. So it's not like a conscious decision. I need to be staying fresh for the next one. It's just, I need to train.
Alongside the training as well, I know you're doing a lot of coaching as well, whether it be one-to-one or you, Harry Abdul at MFA. How much does that add to your game, and what, I guess, aspects has that brought into your game that maybe you didn't expect when you first started coaching?
Well, just one of the main things is that you make connections when you're articulating the finer points of the technical details. You make connections, and it makes you realize, oh yeah, that technique is that way because of this eventuality, what have you. And sometimes it's good coaching someone who has a different style to you, and not just trying to coach everyone the same way. Coaching everyone to be me. Okay, hands up, move forward, dig to the body, do everything I do. But actually coach someone to have a different style so you understand that style better and you get a better read on the game.
I know as well we mentioned just Harry Hardwick there, of course, your brother. You hadn't fought on the same card for ages. Then all of a sudden, I think it was Bellator was the first time in the pro ranks. And ever since then, it's been the same night of fighting. Of course, come, what would it be, the 10th of
10th of
December?
December.
Yes, you will be just making the walk. Harry will not be. For you, do you find it easier when you're both fighting, or do you prefer it when there's only one of you fighting on the night?
It doesn't really make a difference to me. Like, if Harry fights first, I just almost like blank his existence out, and I just watch some cooking videos whilst I'm having a shit. I'll time my shit so he's gone off fighting. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get out the way and have a shit and watch some cooking videos or whatever, like last time. So kind of tuning it out and a bit cold and professional with that. In terms of training, like logistically, it's it's easier when there's just one, because one can be like the main focus. So on say a busy day, it's not like trying to fit in both your sparring or both your pad work or whatever it is around one at once. It's easier in that respect, but to me it makes not much difference.
When it comes to training as well, I know it's something that I spoke to Harry about after his win against Conor Day there just a few months ago. But you and Harry have both been doing a little bit of traveling, going down to Liverpool into Next Gen, going up as well, seeing the Evo boys with Robert Whiteford and Chris Duncan. What were them two experiences like for you?
They were really good experiences. They were before the Donnell and Conmon fights, respectively. They were just really good experiences. It was just good to get it mixed up. You know, generally when you get into someone else's gyms, there's more nerves for you because you're in someone else's environment. But they were both like just class people to train with. Train with Adam Cullen and Paddy in Next Gen, and training with Chris Duncan up in Scotland.
If we look now as well a little bit more, George, at the lightweight division, I know there's a fight on the night after yours, which I believe the winner will be keeping a close eye on your night, and that is Figlak against McIntosh. How do you see that one playing out?
Um, I think Figlak will be able to stay on the front foot. Uh, I would probably edge it towards Figlak. I think I'm fighting Mehdi for the championship. McColgan's like the vacated champ, and I think outside of us, Figlak's probably the next one. So I've thought if whoever wins this Figlak McIntosh fight, and say if I win this fight with Mehdi, if for whatever reason McColgan can't come back to fight, then they're the next in line.
How strong though is that division right now? I mean, just the five names there that you've mentioned, it's insane, but there's so many more. Is it nice to be in a division like that where you know that every fight, especially when you're at the top, you're going to get tested and really be like showing exactly just how good you are?
Yeah, that's good as well. It's just good to be in a quite an open division, especially with McColgan being as good as he is to vacate, let the division move forward. Because I know how Harry's in featherweight, and due to Vucenic's injury, it's slowed the division down a little bit. And then you've got the interim fight with Hughes and Charrier happened. It's a much more like roadblock division, which is a bit frustrating for Harry because it's not as clear a roadmap to the top. Whereas it's just good to be in an open division full of good fighters.
I know we've spoke about what you believe Ben Lakhdhar is going to bring. Obviously, don't go into too much detail, but what can fans expect from you?
Just the basics done aggressively and consistently, like all my fights.
Two last questions then for you, George. Can I get a prediction for how you see the night going down?
It'll take some time to wear them down, but I'll break them down. I really want to see the championship rounds. I've always wanted to know what they're like, and I think that favors me.
with Coach Abdul and the lineage of the Cage Warriors belt as well, that must be a little added extra for you.
Yeah, because we've got it's so old school. It's not even a Cage Warriors belt. It's a Cage Warriors plaque. It says like March 7th, 2004 welterweight title on it, and it's got like some tile sponsor, or it's like some signage sponsor right under it. It's proper old school stuff, and it'll just be good to have them side by side.
Finally, I know this is a very important question for you. What we're looking at for the pommel after the fight? Original, what we're doing?
Um, See, there's a place called Supreme. You know, I like bolognese is a good like staple. But there's a place called Supreme Greek, and it doesn't list it as a parmo topping. It lists it as a pizza topping. But I just asked them to put it on the parmo, and it's like it's called the Italiano, and it's like spicy meatball, salami, pepperoni, chicken, peppers, red onion, chili flakes, and garlic butter. I think, and that's probably my favorite parmo.
Sounds like you're all sorted, George. Thank you very much for your time tonight, mate, and all the best come fight night.
All right, thanks for having me.